You know, one of the additional benefits of being blackpilled, at least for some men, not all men, but some men, one of the benefits that comes is that you have an understanding of money and material a lot better than the regular individual who is very likely to become very obsessed with the material objects, fast cars, you know, big houses, expensive clothing, nice sneakers, and all that. But when you're black pilled, these things they don't really seem to hold the same kind of aura in your mind that they once did when you were growing up, and you were oblivious to the whole idea of what primal desire really is, and how, yes, there is beta desire too, you know, that's important for long-term relationships, but things like money, things like a nice fast car, you know, the way you're dressing and all, these things, they're not exactly creating the kind of desire that your genetics are. Now, I have argued before that if you are good looking, they can act synergistically and still boost you up. So that's not to say they're not doing anything for your primal desire. I actually do think there could be some synergy there. We kind of saw that with Clavicular. His status and money definitely elevated him because he was already a good-looking person. Now, if you're a sub 5, this probably isn't going to be the case for you. But anyway, that's besides the point. Today, I actually wanted to talk about how you have a different outlook on this. Even though there is truth to there being synergy, it still weighs a lot less. It's still a lot less valuable in your mind than it initially was when you were growing up, before you had been exposed to these ideas, before you understood what primal desire was, before you understood the weight of genetics. And not only that, but it almost becomes a bit repulsive to your ego as well. If you are somebody who believes that you have a chance at generating some level of primal desire, then it's a bit of a blow to your ego to then try to self-induce introducing the beta aspect to it, like bringing into your resources into it. You're like self-admitting to yourself that you need that. It's a bit of a blow to your ego, and thus it becomes sort of repulsive. So I wanted to say one of the benefits of being blackpilled is being repulsed by material in that kind of manner, because materialism is not good. This is like very fundamental in many different kinds of philosophies, a philosophy that I study and practice diligently because I genuinely feel it's very beneficial to my outlook on life, my quality of life and being, is Stoicism. And Stoicism not only preaches against materialism, but it preaches against being attached. You know, you want to always be detached from things, especially the material, even people to a degree. You never want to be attached to anything, even outcomes. Like, you don't want to be outcome dependent. But like with material, you don't want to be attached to any of your material. And so I'd like to believe that if all of my material had gone away, if my business had collapsed, if the stock market crashed, if, you know, a meteor came by and struck my unit in New York City, then I'd just be fine. I genuinely believe that I would be fine. And it's not just from my studying of Stoicism, but rather I think a lot of it has to do with being blackpilled, because I'm becoming more and more repulsed by these things because they're blows to my own ego that's self-induced. You guys got to tell me if you could relate. I'm sure a lot of successful guys who might be watching this, some like 6 to 7 figure earners, might be thinking a similar thing. So please let me know if you relate. Once you become blackpilled and you understand the concept of betabuxing, it's like you feel almost disgusted by this stuff. It's like emasculating almost, because it's emasculating to try to create that beta desire strategically, which is with the material. Now again, I did say that it can be synergistic with with good looks too to help primal desire. So there's nuance to this, it's not black and white, but to a degree, in the back of your mind, as someone who's black-pilled, you can't help but feel a little bit embarrassed about it, right? It's like, is my genetic material insufficient that I feel the need to have all these things? If my genetic material really is sufficient, which it really, in the modern day, the beta aspect of it is mattering less and less. Like, these girls are going to college and they're providing for themselves completely fine, at least before they get older. When they're in their youth, in their 20s, these girls, they really don't care that much about the beta desire aspect of it. There's obviously some that really want a relationship, and then the beta qualities are going to be more important to them. Not just resource gathering potential, but also the other beta qualities like your ability to care, the altruistic aspects of your personality, being kind, and showing love and affection. There's some girls that definitely do appreciate that more, but it's still not primal desire. They might want that logistically for their relationship, and it might help you get a relationship the same way like the money status, like it might help you get a relationship, but it's not that primal desire. It's not that animalistic desire that everyone in the black pill community is aware that that's the thing that we all really desire as men. This is why a big reason I'm against the idea that AI girlfriends and like the robot girlfriends are going to be a revolutionary thing. I really don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's going to go down a similar route of pornography. There's always going to be that fundamental need for the man to feel validated, for his genetics to feel validated, and not just that. But, all right, there's a whole conversation to be had there that deserves its own video. So we're going to try to hold off on that because there's so much to go into. I have so many arguments against that. But fuck, and now I lost my train of thought. I'm fucking retarded. Like, I can't control these goddamn tangents. Where were we? Anyway, we were talking something along the lines of, as a black pillar, you understand the difference between the alpha primal desire and that beta desire. And so is it not a bit embarrassing to introduce the material? And okay, so now I remember where I was going with this. Modern day women are even less likely to care about those material things. And even if they did, that's the beta aspect of it. That's more logistical. But yeah, they're even less likely to care about it. So realistically speaking, if you're a decent looking guy, you don't have to be a Chad. A decent looking guy, like, is the material really going to help you that much anyway? Like, the modern environment is very different than the environment our parents grew up in and our grandparents grew up in. I don't think it helps that much with the younger girls who are in their 20s. I don't think it helps that much. I think, and this is speaking for like the majority of girls, not all of them. Again, there's nuance with this. But I really don't think money is money and like a fast car, nice car and all. I don't think it's helping as much as people think it is. And you guys have to take it from me because I've experimented with all of it. I started driving supercars at the age of 19. I got an R8 when I was 19, bought it in cash because I didn't know what the fuck else to do with the money that was coming in. Got a Lamborghini Huracan after that. Now I'm driving a Ferrari 488 and a BMW M4. New York City crib up in the sky with a crazy view. And I could tell you firsthand, the primal desire that I experience is actually better when I don't show these things. That's why I removed my car pictures and everything like 2 years ago from my personal Instagram. That's the Instagram that I'll give out when I'm meeting girls, or I'll just give out my phone number, not even give the Instagram, so they can't look my name up or anything. And the primal desire is always, it almost seems better than when I introduce money into it. Because once you introduce money to it, it's like you're sending a signal, because remember, it's not all about looks, your behavior matters too. It's all about perception of your genetics, and not always your actual genetics. There's like 10% of the equation, which is what's being perceived, and that's where things like pre-selection come into play too. And part of pre-selection is like your own behavior, what you're signaling, if you're a pre-selected man or not. I genuinely believe this is the case. And if you're feeling the need to compensate, and that could be compensating with money, or it could be compensating with muscles. You know, like the gym cells who take steroids and put on copious amounts of muscles, that's compensating as well. And that sends a signal where not only is it diminishing returns, but I actually believe that there's an inflection point where having too much muscles starts to actually lower your SMV, because it's sending that signal that your genetic material was insufficient. You have to think, what does everything imply? You know, you have to think, what does this insinuate? And it's insinuating, it's implying that you had to put on that copious amount of muscle. You had to do that, because if you didn't, you were not getting the results, because your original genetic material was insufficient. And the same concept could be applied to money in a similar fashion. So yeah, I wanted to explain that being anti-material, like not being materialistic, I believe is a very good thing. You're not going to fall into certain patterns of overspending. You're not going to feel the need to keep up with the Joneses and try to like be the richest guy on the block and feeling stressed out and, you know, overspending and, you know, living paycheck to paycheck just for perception. That's another thing that's big in Stoicism. It's like, you shouldn't give a fuck what anyone thinks about you. So much nuance to that concept, because there's objective goods that you have to do for yourself. We're not going to go down that tangent either. But, yep. I'm fucking retarded. Well, my clothes seem to have finished in the washer, so I think that'll about wrap it up. I think you guys get the idea. It's a good thing to not be materialistic. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, you're contradicting yourself. Like, you have a Ferrari, you have an M4, you own a fucking crib up in the sky in New York City where real estate is like the most expensive. This is so like backwards. You're a hypocrite. And well, it's true, you know? Like I could try to, you know, if I want to be really honest with you guys, I try to rationalize it, because you could rationalize anything. I try to rationalize it and explain like, well, I like to show these things on a second Instagram account because I'm trying to use it to get the attention of people who fell into the same shoes as me initially, and I'm trying to guide them towards that positive direction, and the only way to do that is to show these materialistic trophies and all. And that is true. You know, that's why I have that other Instagram account. If you check my following on that account, I don't follow any girls. There's actually one I follow, but it's strictly for business. But I don't use that account for girls. You know, it's just, I genuinely have good intentions with it, but I'll still take it on the chin if you call me a hypocrite, Because, like, I'm just looking around, looking at all this shit, and I'm like, well, what the fuck else was I supposed to do with all the money, you know? Donate it all? Fuck that. The kids in Africa are starving. Fuck them kids. As Michael Jordan once said. Nah, in all seriousness, I'll eventually probably make a video on why, you know, a lot of charities are corrupt. But I actually do, you know what? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because I don't need to prove anything. I'd rather you just think I'm a bad person. We're not going to do that. That's another topic that I want to get into, actually, controlling narratives. That you never, it's big in Stoicism, you never want to try to control the narrative. That's something we'll be talking about soon. But yeah, it's like, what the fuck else was I supposed to do with all the money? You know, I bought real estate, I bought stocks, you know, so my money's accumulating value. And you know what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably just going to fuck off from this life. Probably sometime around next year, maybe winter. I'm probably just going to fuck off and experiment for like 3 months living with nothing. That's a common Stoic practice, actually. You know, practicing living with bare minimums and non-luxuries to test yourself and make sure you are prepared to have everything stripped from you. And it's going to allow you to live with immense peace, knowing that you're completely okay and fine. God forbid something like that happens. Because I understand having this money, it's very good and very important in a realistic light, not just for the flashiness of it, but when I'm ready to have kids, you know, being able to give those kids a good life, being able to afford proper medical care for my loved ones, being able to, you know, travel and create experiences. There's so much, you know. So I'm not gonna like just burn all my money. That would be retarded. I never agreed with people who go down that route. I'm probably gonna just allow my money to accumulate and just like live without it. You know, I'm just gonna keep my stock positions. Maybe I'll rent out my unit, rent out my car. Actually, I don't like the idea of renting out my car. I don't know. We're gonna take it slowly. We're gonna play it by ear. But what I'm not gonna do, I have a very strong desire to just fuck off from life. Like just disappear from the world for a little bit. And what keeps me from doing that and just like going off without internet, without a computer, without a cell phone is my business. I feel a duty, not just for money, but for my customers, my employees who are making money because of me, and because my business genuinely helps people make money. So I feel a duty. I've always felt that duty, and that's why I believe I've excelled so much in that business. It's because I've felt a duty for it. I never really was trying to get rich. It was more like a duty to the community. Even when I first started that YouTube channel, like the comment section and the people like asking me for help with things, it just felt like an overwhelming duty to help this community. And now I'm starting to feel that same kind of duty for you guys as well. And I'm feeling a connection with you guys as well. Like in the Discord and in the comment section, I see the same faces frequently, and it's like, as much as I desire to just fuck off completely, I don't think I could do it completely. I think I'm going to need to keep my computer and my phone with me and continue making videos for you guys during that process. I mean, I guess having a duty and working is in line with Stoicism, so I don't know, guys. I'm just figuring this out. But yeah, I've had an overwhelming desire lately to just fuck off. Fuck off from this luxury life. Not even just to test myself, like literally I I just want to fuck off. I don't know how else to articulate it. You know, I just want to disappear for a little bit. And I don't think my friends would miss me much. You know, I'd probably like get talked about here and there, but you know, people move on, like life moves on. Um, and the girls that I'm seeing now, I'll probably end up just telling them like I'm going away for a month, and then I'll just extend it to three months or however long it is, and um, they'll probably wait. And if they don't, then fuck them. I really don't give a shit anymore. I don't know. I guess we're gonna make this two separate videos probably, but I do want to still wrap up the idea with blackpill benefiting you and helping you become anti-materialistic. Yeah, it's good. It's not good to be materialistic. A lot of negative things come with that. A lot of stress, keeping up with the Joneses, and all for what? It's a blow to your ego. It's like, is my genetic material insufficient? Why the fuck do I need all this? And I guess we'll end it off on the fact that, like I said at the beginning of the video, this applies to some men, not all. We have certain advice that I have to dedicate to sub fives. Sub fives have a different experience. There's different advice for you with materialism, and I still think it's in your best interest to approach materialistic things objectively, because some of you are not going to be able to generate that primal desire. That's not all of you. I have seen outlier sub fives do it. And that's not to say, you know, discrepancy theory isn't still going to be fucking with your ego a little bit, you know, when she's scrolling Instagram. But, you know, it's better than nothing, I guess. Maybe not to all of you. Maybe some of you, nothing is better. I don't know. It's such a nuanced thing. That deserves its own video, though. I'm not going to snub you guys short. I'll come back to you guys, the sub fives who watch, because I got to look out for everyone. And I probably want to look out for you guys the most. You're the ones who need the most guidance, and no one's giving you proper guidance on here because they don't understand. So, yeah, we'll get around to proper betabuxing as a sub five. Things to keep in mind as you're betabuxing, because I just don't agree with a lot of, you know what, we're going to stop, all right? Yeah, that's it for today.